Alrighty, yo guys, Beast back with some obviously content. So the lore behind this build is the current main player is the Money Man, and the Money Man just robbed Fallon's bank. So he is building NORDHAGEN, Fort NORDHAGEN. Here is Fort NORDHAGEN. It is a military base and a marketplace build. We have a marketplace going on here, and we have a fort here. This is where he spent most of his days, wasting away here, building stuff, hanging on to all his cash, because he does plan on depositing those back in the bank eventually. Once we find a bank that will still talk to us, I think if we go to Starlight Drive-In, we might be good. I think we've sat here long enough. I think the amount of time it took to build this has gotten us enough time away from there that they forgot our faces, and we're able to go back to the banks now, no problem. We'll probably never be able to set foot in Fallon's bank again, and if we do, they probably will not allow us to do anything with them. But besides Fallon's bank, we should be good. The only thing we'll be able to do with Fallon's bank anymore is probably rob it again. But besides that, and Fallon's bank is going to be upgrading its security since the Money Man has robbed it, so that is something to take into account. I would also like to take into account that the Commonwealth State Penitentiary is a build in progress. That will be coming eventually onto the channel. You will be seeing the Commonwealth State Penitentiary. I'm not going to tell you where we're building it or anything else like that, because we are currently working on Fort NORDHAGEN. So, Fort NORDHAGEN features a couple different things that we will see in the future. First things first is functional jeeps. Second is we're going to touch up on those jeeps. And as you can see here, I changed this later. I was going to try and use metal barriers here, and then I think we ended up expanding that bunker a little bit. That right there is just the bunker where everybody's going to sleep that works here at the marketplace. And then also, there is a room in there for the Money Man himself to be sleeping, because that's where he's been sleeping while he's been working on this for days and days and days. I'm telling you, this has probably been a couple years that the Money Man has spent staying here working on this. I did want to go ahead and mention that most of my builds have lore relevant to the channel only, but it is lore nonetheless. The Money Man does have a series if you do want to go check that out. It has not had an update in quite a while. There are only 3 episodes, and it is way out of date compared to where the Money Man is at now. But I'm sure Untold Stories of the Wasteland video will be coming relatively soon, hopefully. But regardless, as you can see here, we were going to do a middle door design here. And we were going to have 2 cars parked out in the front, but we ended up doing something completely different. And I want to touch up on these bunker corner things from the CVC set. For some reason, once we had them placed, we weren't getting them to snap, so we just had to rebuild the entire thing. So that's what this is. That's why we ended up making it larger, which actually worked out as a very big advantage, because once I had built everything, I was like, well, where am I going to put all the beds? And then I was like, well, I got a giant fort to put beds in. So that's exactly where all the settlers are going to be sleeping that do live here. This place is open only to if you're allowed in. He recruited a set of people to run the shops, and that is it. This is his cover for how he got all these caps that he robbed the bank for. His cover is that he owns this place, which is a marketplace, and this is where all his income came from, when in fact, in reality, most of his caps came from robbing a bank. So, if you haven't seen the bank robbery video, I do highly suggest to go check it out. It was a lot of fun to record, but if you have, thank you. Anyway, so as you can see here, the first things first we did in this back part area here is build up a sort of platform here, and on another one of my builds I'm working on, which y'all haven't seen yet, I disabled the workshop item in the place, but on this one I decided to just put a metal grate over it because I could. I do like leaving that workshop there and accessible. I'm not sure if it causes any bugs by going over there and clicking it and just typing disable, because you are still able to access the build menu and everything else. However, I think I started to notice bugs when I was working on a build when I did try and disable one of those, and I don't think I even remember the console command to re-enable it now, so hopefully that place isn't too big of a nightmare to work on, and hopefully it doesn't just automatically undo everything I built there. But this place is fine because we left the workshop intact. That is just best to do. It's probably not best to disable that item, because I do believe it is also linked to the inventory of that workshop, and might cause you some issues, even if you can still access the workshop via the controller command or the keyboard, whatever you're playing on. But as you can see here, we also built a helipad. We do get a functional Vertibird here as well. We are also working on something down here. The helipad from the Brotherhood still had stairs down, so then I decided to kind of do just barges down here for now. We will be working on a future video there. There's a mod showcase coming. I'm not going to tell you too much. All I'm saying is it's a mod showcase coming. I love drivable things, and there's a bunch of barges right by the water with nothing built on them yet. So I'm sure you can guess what type of video we do have coming there. As a matter of fact, you might even see like the quests pop up for it in here, because I went ahead and added the mod I wanted while I was working on this. I also added a functional Vertibird later on. We will see the Vertibird later on, and then at the end of the episode you will also see the Vertibird take off. And I will leave a link down below to the functional Vertibird and the Jeep drivable the Commonwealth add-on. I will leave all of that link below. It is a Nexus mod. I don't ever really link Xbox or PlayStation mods just because I don't really feel like I should have to. I play on PC. You might be able to get them on Xbox or PlayStation, but I am not going to be checking that. I'm mainly just focused here on doing the builds and showing you the mods. That's my main goal. This is PC. If you're doing modding, you really should be on PC, especially with this game. It's kind of part of the draw here. But as you can see here, we created this little rampway with a doorway here. I really liked this. And then we put up these little police Robotrons. And when I put these up, I realized I was going to have to fence this area off. At first we were going to use farmers' fence gates, but they just really, there really was just no way of using that in this area. We ended up putting this metal gate here, which we then locked as a master lock by typing lock 80 and clicking on it. I locked it just so that no settlers would go in and out through it, so that they'd leave it alone. And so that, you know, it's a locked thing. If raiders come in, they can't get in through the locked gate. Either it's a level 80 master lock. I'm sure none of them can lockpick level 80 anyway, so we should be secure there. You will see we did add some more defense besides these robots, but they did provide 64 defense by themselves. They're no chumps. They can protect the place just fine. We added them in the common little area where the shops are. The shops do change a little bit, and by a little bit I mean a lot. We did just use those base stalls there. I don't even know if we used any of those base stalls. There may be one or two markets in there that actually have the base stall left when we are done with that market build. And as you can see here, this is just where we put the barges. You might even see a little bit of a hint of it, because I think I tried to place the mod I was talking about, but unfortunately it wouldn't let me without completing a quest. So yeah, but as you can see here, we did stack up barges here. This is the first one I did of a build where the barges are almost stacking on top of each other. They kind of stair step. I liked how this turned out. I can't wait to be building on these barges and doing what I want to do with that, and I just can't wait to do that video in general, just because, you know, it's a pretty cool mod. And as you can see here, here is the personal Vertibird. As you can see, you can get on it, you can fly. As you can see, there's the go ahead and testing it out. It did land over here. It did not use the Brotherhood of Steel CVC helipad, unfortunately, which really upset me. But we could use the Vertipad that come with the mod, and when you use the Vertipad, of course, the Vertibird will land on the helipad. We ended up taking just a floor piecing and sticking it in the side of it with it floating in the air, and then lowering it into our current Vertipad so that it fit with our current one. We didn't have to delete our current one and build our own little platform thing for it, because I do like the Brotherhood of Steel platform for it. And now, as you can see, it does work. Now, I did land on this recently and have it put me through the floor, so it's not a perfect mod by any means, but it's still pretty cool. And you can just select the Vertibird in the workshop, pick it up, and it'll automatically be ready to place right where you want it. Set it down and no problem, everything's fixed. So it's really not hard to fix if it does bug out, and I think it is 100% worth it to have a personal Vertibird. There are two versions of this mod. I will go ahead and mention one of them is a realistic version where it costs fuel and stuff like that in order to use your Vertibird, and I think you have to get parts to build them from actual crashed Vertibirds, which is really actually lore friendly there. But I, one, didn't feel like going around chasing down Vertibirds trying to shoot them with my sledgehammer because I'm a melee build, and two, I just don't got time for that. So I used the easy mode one, which is no fuel cost for the Vertibird, so you can fly anywhere in the Commonwealth. The way you use it, you will see in the end, all you have to do is go to your map, select where you want to go. It will say fast travel here. You click OK while you're in the Vertibird. Close your Pip-Boy and the Vertibird will rise from the ground and you will take flight. So, as you can see here though, this is how the marketplace was turning out. We did get some stalls in. This is the Jeep mod I was talking about. These things were kind of a nightmare at some points. They would glitch through the floor, and then I kept having robots fall through my floors for some reason because I think they wanted to walk on the beach even though there was a platform on top of it. I'm telling you, when it comes to building settlements, the most irritating thing about building a settlement is never the building itself or any of the designs or anything like that. It's always the settlers and the robots and anything living, because they always either glitch through walls, glitch through floors, or just never ever stand where you want them to stand. Sometimes they'll stand in the back behind the store when they're supposed to be standing in the store, and it drives me absolutely crazy. But as you can see here, this was most of the stalls done. We then went into the bunker and started working on it and actually getting it decked out a little bit. First things first, we did start to just wall off that one side so that it was its own room. That is the main player, aka the money man currently. He lives in that room. That is where he's held out with all of his caps while he waited for them to forget about him so he could go back to the bank and deposit his stolen caps. But besides that, this was the front door here. For some reason, this door would not actually snap into place on this corner. I guess this CVC bunker does not have snapping even for the door and the doorway, which kind of annoyed me, but I did get it to fit pretty well overall. And then, as you can see here, this was just the power generator. We ended up using the Vault 88 beacon that attracts settlers, just because it's just a small little box on the wall that you can flick on or off that will attract settlers. I am going to be flicking that off, as the money man doesn't always want it to be on. He only wants it to be on when he's trying to recruit new people for something he needs. If he doesn't need any more people, he's going to turn that off. And he has all of his markets filled up now with people as of the end of the video, which y'all will see the preview in a minute once we are done building here. And as you can see here, missile turrets along all of the walls, all connected to that main fusion generator inside of the bunker, which you will see the wiring for that in a little bit. I actually really liked how the wiring turned out for the electricity when it came to the actual electric poles that we ran all the way into the bunker. I thought it looked really nice and added stuff to the settlement and added a little bit more flow, and just it was overall pretty nice. But as you can see here, this was the electrical setup. We just ran the poles there and then ran them through here along the tops of the walls, trying to keep everything just out of sight and up and high and against the wall as possible so that you really didn't see the wires too much. I don't want wires running across rooms and things like that. I tried to avoid that. You will also notice that while we're wiring these turrets across the archway, we built some sort of like electrical conduits over the archway instead of like having it run across the archway or in front of the door, which would have drove me absolutely crazy, having the main gate for the vehicles to get out, have a wire running across it. And then we used these little spotlight lights, and these actually required power, so we did have to run a little bit of a power setup just to these last two. The rest of them had enough power already, but these last two did need its own little power pole connected. And then what we went ahead and did and just placed some Brahmin around here. In this video, you will see that we built fences, but at the end preview, you will see that we took the fences down. Like I said before, when it comes to anything living in the settlement, that is what is going to cause the most annoyance. And as you're seeing there, their one already escaped. They would not stay in this fence no matter what. There was just absolutely no point to even have the fence. I ended up just putting Brahmin troughs down by the wall, and now they all stay on this side and they never get into the market. So as long as the Brahmin stay out of the market, I think everything should be okay. We shouldn't have any incidents of Brahmin attacks, as long as people just stay away from the Brahmin side of things. And also, they're kind of like Brahmin guards that keep people out of the fort. Only the settlers and the main person is allowed in there, because the Brahmin are going to be cool with the settlers that live there, and of course the Brahmin's going to be cool with the guy who bought them. That is some of the money that was spent from the bank robbery was spent on the Brahmin here. Not much of it, probably about 500 bucks, but still some money was spent here. Most of it, however, has been held on to and is just waiting to be deposited back into the bank that we rolled it from. Just probably at a different location, because I'm sure Fallon's bank's teller there will never ever speak to us again. We may go ahead and replace the teller. That might be our goal at Fallon's bank, because I think if we get rid of that teller and then take him out back and get rid of him somewhere, or just send him, I think we'll send him to prison. I think he'll get like arrested for bank fraud or something. We're going to frame him. But anyway, when we do the prison build, I think he will have to be the first prisoner. We'll be the bank teller that got robbed. But as you can see here, this was one of the first guys for the vendors. We eventually got him to actually sit there. I really like these vending vans from the CVC set. It creates just these vans that have all sorts of stuff for selling them that have the theme of whatever shop it is that you're using. That looks really, really nice in my own opinion. And then we also lit them all up. But everybody just sits on the end of the bus that's busted up there, and then you vend from them, and it just looks a lot better. And also, most of the time, works out a lot better than the other sort of stores when you design around them. Sometimes the settlers can't get to the store or whatever. With these bus stores, most of the time, except for if the store is somehow bugged out and the sit point for where the person's supposed to go is on the opposite side of what it's supposed to be, which is the case on some of these. I actually didn't notice. But I do believe that is all. Go ahead and leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, and give it beast mode. I'm out. See you.